Prior to the summer of 2026, artificial intelligence was locked tightly inside corporate data centers. You could interact with the models, but you couldn't access the underlying engine. Access was entirely financialized. Developers rented intelligence by the word, paying through API keys, navigating strict tier limits, and waiting in subscription queues. That closed ecosystem fractured at exactly midnight on July 27, 2026, when Moonshot dropped the K3 model in Beijing. This scale comparison chart puts the release into perspective. That tiny dot in the center represents the size of typical previous open models. The web swallowing it is K3. Moonshot released an architecture with 2.8 trillion parameters, a context window of 1 million tokens, and a total file size of 1.4 terabytes. As the diagram shows, this structure breaks apart into billions of downloadable data packets. This is the mechanism of open weights. Instead of distributing a polished software application, Moonshot released the raw mathematical foundation of the intelligence itself. Giving away a multi-billion-dollar technological asset for free is a calculated maneuver. By removing the price tag, Moonshot positioned its specific architecture to become the default infrastructure for global development. Developers globally reacted immediately. Within hours, independent engineers were downloading enterprise-grade AI directly to their own local servers. Building on OpenAI required corporate contracts and continuous microtransactions. Deploying Moonshot's K3 required a large hard drive and an internet connection. Releasing a foundational model for free initiates a dynamic we call the Great Inversion. The financial value shifts away from the entity that built the model, transferring entirely to the secondary builders creating applications on top of it. This flowchart tracks the inversion. At the base, developers utilize free open weights. Moving up into the software layer, financial value explodes. The coding assistant Cursor, built on Moonshot's K2.5, rapidly secured a $60 billion acquisition by SpaceX. The shift extends to extreme edge computing. Hobbyist engineers quickly began compressing massive 28 billion parameter models to run entirely on low-cost $8 microchips. Pushing high-level artificial intelligence to cheap local devices removes the requirement for a central server. This bypasses the gatekeeping of massive corporate data centers. Zooming out, this shift impacts the physical reality of the hardware and software supply chains underpinning global technology. Sovereign artificial intelligence relies on a strict equation of physical and financial choke points. To build it, you need raw energy, light, silicon, memory, advanced packaging, and massive capital. This stack diagram maps those elements across 9 distinct layers.
Watch what happens to Layer 6, the AI models. As it turns gold and expands, we see Layer 6 commoditization in action. Flooding the market with free models heavily undercuts the profit margins of the proprietary software layers above and the specialized hardware layers below. As the boundaries dissolve and Layer 6 flattens into a base, a 10th factor is added to the geopolitical equation: openness. Maintaining a temporary 2% lead in quality benchmarks yields very little leverage if developers cannot afford to use the tool. Total frictionless market accessibility generates massive compounding leverage. When the global industry builds its software specifically for the K3 architecture, they adopt its standards. By providing the weights, Moonshot ensures that the next generation of software is designed around their specific digital logic. Every new technology enterprise now faces a binary choice: continue renting processing power from the walled gardens or host the K3 architecture independently. Heading into 2028, the technological progression points toward the elimination of context limits and the rollout of persistent memory models. The intelligence will remember interactions over months, not hours. As digital bottlenecks vanish entirely by 2030, global conflict will shift entirely back to the physical world. The struggle moves to carving raw energy from the earth and securing the rare minerals required to power the grid. The midnight release of K3 reclassified artificial intelligence as sovereign global infrastructure, available to anyone with the storage to host it.